Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, a sports ethos presentation brought to you by our great partners at FanDuel. My name is Aaron Bruski, and with me is the great Steve Dr. A. Alexander. And in this episode, we're going to look into tonight's slate to help you identify all of the top streamers available, what you should be watching for, and all the angles that matter for fantasy basketball. Quick housekeeping note, to make the most of this NBA Cup final break, you're not only going to get the release of the first in-season Bruski 150 of the season, but also the 30-team breakdown here on the pod that usually happens today. That's going to happen tomorrow. So Doc and I will, as always, have our regular episode recapping Monday's action. Later in the day, before games tip off, we'll release the B150 and have the 30-team breakdown episode around. It's about 5 p.m. Eastern time. So you guys can join us live on the Sports Ethos YouTube channel or listen on the Fantasy NBA Today pod feed, wherever you get your podcasts. And then the B150, of course, is available at sportsethos.com for all NBA Fantasy Pass subscribers. So Doc and I just dropped the recap from the weekend's action. Make sure you guys go listen to that episode. But let's get today's episode started by catching up with the latest news that's hit. We had a ton of news in the last show. Right now, we only have a few items, thank goodness. Peyton Pritchard downgraded to questionable for tonight's game. It's a neck injury for him. Yusuf Nurkic, he's ruled out for rest. Put on the tinfoil hat time for tonight's game, and we're going to talk a lot about that, so I'll just sort of save that. Tari Eason, oblique muscle, listed questionable for Monday, so we'll get some Tari Eason talk. And why don't we save that talk for a little Houston Rockets, Denver Nuggets talk later on in the show. Hello, new listeners. Welcome to Sports Ethos. Head on over to sportsethos.com. Check out those memberships. All these B150 projections I'm talking about on and on and on about are they're cultivated over the summertime. About 400 hours goes into them. And then as we go through the year, just constantly sort of going through them and making sure that they reflect the updated realities. And then we get this little gap with the NBA Cup, and we get a little bit of light action in the days surrounding it. I'm actually able to reproduce a B150. It's not ideal. It's not what I'm doing over the summer, but because we have the summer work, we can kind of combine it all and get you guys a really powerful buy low, sell high kind of a tool. Make sure that you're geared up for the last 2/3 of your seasons. And you also get a bunch of other stuff with the membership tools, articles, and all of that. So go check it out at sportsethos.com. Let's get ready for tonight's action, Doc. Hello, by the way. And who do you like for your top streamer of the night?
Well, I'm going to stick with Jordan Walsh. I don't know how many leagues he's still available in. It should be 0, but there's leagues out there where he's still available. Or if you're going to play FanDuel, put him in your FanDuel lineup tonight. In December, this guy's averaging, in just 27 minutes, he's averaging 15.6 boards, 2 steals, almost a block, almost 2 threes, and he's shooting 81% from the field. It's unreal. And we got all excited about Josh Minot, but it's been Jordan Walsh who's been the diamond in the rough in Boston this year.
Oh, yes, indeed. Jordan Walsh. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later in the show as well, but fully on board with that. We've been barking about this for a couple of weeks now, and that's great stuff. If you could get a streamer like Jordan Walsh, you're cooking with gas. Similarly, I'm going to talk about Kyle Filipowski right now. He's been all over the place this season. I mean, he finally looked like he was breaking out a little bit, and then a little bit of a speed bump. But Nurkic being out and Kevin Love getting these two guys are your keys for Kyle Filipowski when they come out of the game. And I think at some point Utah is going to really not want them on the floor. And you know what, Nurk might, and I don't know the trades, the circumstances surrounding his contract. I imagine it's a small contract that's tradable. If it's not, somebody can laugh at me. But I think Nurkic is going to be dangled out there as a veteran big man that if you have a team that's going to compete and you just want somebody who's either your second or third center, I think teams might be interested in that. So you got a couple ways to have Nurk and Kevin Love exit stage right, and that will free up Kyle Filipowski to do the full thing. And this is a guy who's got a top 50 gear. Last season we saw that. I don't know if that gear is in play this season. Keontae George is really taking a lot of shots. Lauri Markkanen's still around. And I don't know if they're going to be able to move Markkanen at the trade deadline. I would suspect they can, but I'm curious if the market is soft out there for Markkanen as well. We'll see about that. But anyway, Nurk being out, that's a big sign that Kyle Filipowski could have a big game. We'll watch for that, and that's a great time to get a streamer in. Doc, who do you like third?
I don't love him, but I like Gary Trent. He scored in double figures in each of his last 3 games, scoring 20, 13, and 11 points. He hits a ton of 3-pointers. He's playing 27 minutes a game for the Bucks, who are a disaster, obviously. He's only going to really help you probably in points and 3-pointers. But if you're just looking for a streamer and a warm body to get in your lineup, he probably fits the bill, and he's probably available in your league.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that, and maybe has a chance at something more if things kind of morph his direction in Milwaukee. I will go Ryan Nembhard here. I like the opposition. I don't like the one-on-one matchup with Keontae George as they play Utah tonight, but he could have been dropped after the scoreless game, and it's tough. Like, he has such a small margin of error to be a season-long, rest-of-season guy. Because he doesn't get defensive stats, and he's got to rely on these big popcorn stats. And if all of a sudden just he's not a part of the game plan for whatever reason, it could get bad real quick. And the calculus for him has been updated a little bit. If I had to throw a dart, I'd say let's call him a top 125 to 150 guy going forward until he shows us a little bit more. But Utah can be a team that Dallas can have success against, and Nembhard can be a part of that success. He won't be covered by Keontae George all game long. He'll have ability to get in and get kind of loose against a Utah defense that's got some issues. And this would be a great time to try him out for assists. And those are kind of hard to find on the wire. So I like Ryan Nembhard as a streamer with potential upside beyond that. Doc, who else you got?
That was a tough game for old Nembhard.
For old RJ.
Old Nembhard.
Long-time listeners know about RJ.
Jamal Shed, 18 points, 3 boards, 8 assists, a steal, and 4 threes in 34 minutes. RJ Barrett being gone in Toronto, I think, really helps him. So I think now is a great time to fire up the Jamal Shed mobile. Yeah,
I think it's going to be fun watching Jamal Shed kind of ascend in fantasy leagues, whether it happens this year or next year or whatever it does. I just like to see good players, get their flowers. I'll add Duncan Robinson to this list because Duncan is so needed for Detroit right now. I can't imagine he doesn't get a lot of playing time and get a lot of shots in this game with Boston here tonight. And I know we're going to talk about that game a little bit, so I'll probably save a little bit of my firepower for the what to watch for segment, which is literally right now. But Duncan Robinson, if you need threes, is a good streamer that may be available, probably be available in your league. And as you're checking for all of these players, we're going to just ask you guys quickly to hit the thumbs up. It's a nice thing you can do for us. It helps us out a ton. So thank you guys so much for that. All right, Doc, let's get into what to watch for. This is an interesting night of hoops. It's a 5-game night, I believe. And who do you like to watch here tonight?
Well, I think this Houston at Denver game is going to be fascinating. Houston's 16-6, Denver's 18-6. This could be a Western Conference Finals preview if by some miracle the now losing streak bound Oklahoma City Thunder get toppled. But it should just be a really fun game. Who doesn't want to watch Nikola Jokic and Amen Thompson and Kevin Durant? I think everybody does. And then
Alpi.
What's that?
Alpi.
Did
you say his name? Yeah.
No,
Alpi
I did not. In Şengün.
I mean, this is what the people want. They want to see the next Nikola Jokic play the current Nikola Jokic.
Low key outside MVP candidate.
Oh, wow.
And then over there in the East, we've got Detroit, who are 20-5 at Boston, who is 10-5. That line is Detroit plus 1.5 at minus 108 on FanDuel. And I think this Peyton Pritchard news is not great for Boston. Boston got rolled by Milwaukee the other night. I feel like Detroit's just doing it. I bet against Detroit against the Hawks the other night. They blew them out. Detroit did, and I really like Detroit in this game.
Yeah, I was looking to see if the odds moved because this line doesn't look right to me. It looks like Detroit's got an injury or something. I know Boston's a somewhat public team, but Detroit's been rolling, and they are kind of a popular team right now. I think people are on the Detroit bandwagon. And this plus 1.5, it suggests that on a home court, Detroit might be like a 2 or 3 point favorite. It feels like that's not accurate of what these two teams are capable of. So I like your Detroit bet. I'm just waiting for like the injury to hit so I can understand this line better. And it didn't even move at all, really, with Peyton Pritchard news. So that's probably baked into this. Maybe I'm getting that part wrong because I don't know when the news hit and when this line became this line. But at any rate, Detroit at Boston is going to be a great game. And speaking of Jordan Walsh, this is the Jordan Walsh versus Cade Cunningham bowl. Like if Boston, they've been talking a lot of trash about Jordan Walsh being a very high end defender, and he matches up with Cade Cunningham, body wise as well as anybody. So if he's that good, we should see it tonight in Cade Cunningham's numbers. So maybe that's a reason to not bet on Detroit, but I kind of think that I don't think Jordan Walsh has that in his bag yet. I don't think he can shut down Cade Cunningham in a meaningful way, or they might just zone him up, and we'll find out if there's a continued zone issue for Detroit. I didn't watch the last game to see if it was 4 in a row on the zone front, but we'll see it tonight because this is going to be a featured game on a slow night, and I'll make sure that I can tune in and all the good stuff there. And then I think I just want to also echo that game between Denver and Houston is so big. Like this, I hope both teams take it seriously and go out and just try to clobber each other because that will make for some good basketball. And as I have it right now, just to be official about it, there's only 2 teams that can win, or probably 3 teams. And I think Denver it might be on the outside looking in. I don't know, but it's Denver, San Antonio, and OKC. I don't think anybody else can win the championship. I don't think anybody from the East can do it. So Houston, if they want to actually join the club, they're going to have to win some of these games. Let's get some quick news here. We got a couple of Dallas items that popped up. Brandon Williams downgraded to questionable with an Achilles. We also have Anthony Davis and Dan Gafford present at shoot-around. So Gafford's been banged up. I was just checking to see if I actually added him in one high-stakes league. Not that it matters. But with this news that Brandon Williams is questionable, does this move you to an ad on old RJ, Ryan Nembhard?
Yeah, we're probably confusing people because he's still listed on ESPN as RJ, and he's not.
We're just making
Ryan
fun of
and there's RJ.
The RJ situation. It's Ryan.
It is, and don't pick up the wrong one. But yeah, I mean, I think it makes him more valuable. And it's the Achilles for Brandon, and you got to be careful with those. So I like your Nembhard call tonight.
Yeah, I like it a lot as far as the stream goes, and hopefully I just like rooting for underdogs as well. So hopefully he can have some success and keep it going. Let's get into the Memphis Grizzlies here. So we had Santi Aldama got a start, not Jock Landale, with Zach Edey out, and you've got the Landale situation. You got Cam Spencer who's getting minutes, and obviously Jaren Jackson's not doing anything there. So I want to really watch this game and see. I don't know I don't think these pieces are moving that much. Like I've been on Aldama all season. He's one of the B150 guys. I don't think he's better or worse, for all these different things that are happening. I think his role is locked in, and he's just kind of perfect for that system as well. So it's not him that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, but Cam Spencer, can this dude survive the Ja Morant return? And he's been getting minutes. So where do you land on that, Doc?
Well, I mean, he played, he had 20 points and 6 3-pointers and 4 assists in 25 minutes in his last game. But That comes with an asterisk because he hit all of his shots. He didn't miss any, and that's not going to happen every night. But the fact he got 25 minutes with Ja Morant playing is encouraging. I don't know how much of it was tied to the fact that he couldn't miss that night and they just left him in there. But and also Ja's unreliable. Like, we don't know how long Ja's going to be playing every day. I like Cam Spencer a lot.
Yeah, I talk a lot about various wins that I've had on this show. The Cam Spencers of the world, that you got Pat Spencer as well. These basketball families, why I'm bringing this together is Con Knippel's going off, and he's got like 7 brothers that play basketball. Like, they're just a massive basketball family. Something about the Spencers just happened here. Like, they just are good at basketball, and you're seeing both of them rise through the ranks. And with Con, I feel like I completely whiffed on that one. And I don't know that this is connected so much, other than to say, like, these are good basketball players. And sometimes all the preseason and all of the draft analysis, it just doesn't matter. If somebody can ball, they can ball. And Cam Spencer appears to be able to ball, and he's a top 90 guy on the season. If you go by totals, and that's in just 21 minutes a game, so like, if you went and rode with Cam Spencer early on, you're winning. And so I don't know, to me, it kind of feels like must roster territory for Cam Spencer, because a lot of things are going to change for a lot of different reasons in Memphis, but your constants, Santi Aldama, Cedric Coward, Cam Spencer, hell, Jock Landale might be a constant. And then when Zach Edey gets back, it's back to Edey ball. I think the page has been turned in Memphis, and those are the guys you want, and you might be able to just ride them for the rest of the season. And Jalen Wells, I don't like Jalen Wells' fantasy game so much, but he, is a guy that plays well and knows how to play basketball, and he's going to get minutes. So I don't know. I like the Memphis Grizzlies, and I want to watch him tonight and see how he does.
Drew, that Houston game we were talking about. So Tari Eason is supposed to be back tonight, and there were a lot of people that were excited about Tari Eason and drafted Tari Eason, and it's been pretty much a bust so far. He's had some moments. Would you rather have Tari Eason than any of those guys you just mentioned on Memphis?
Ooh, that's a fun one. I think that Eason, if you can't manage games played, like you can't manage the back-to-backs for whatever reason, like just the cut line doesn't support the zero he gets in that game, you got to bench him, or you can't bench him because it's a weekly lineup deal or whatever it is, that knocks him way down the list. I would probably, if I can manage it, I would have him over Jalen Wells. I would have him over Jock Landale. I might even flirt with the idea of having him over Cedric Coward. I don't know. I don't think I'm taking him over Cam Spencer right now.
Dude, Coward is coming off a 17-point, 12 rebound, 6 assists, 2 3-pointer.
I know.
Bombshell that I think you're irritated, as most of us are, that he didn't have any steals or blocks.
That's it. Thank you. That's it.
Like,
right
if he had like 1 steal maybe or 1 block, then you might feel differently about that game. But overall, that was a big game for Cedric Coward. I don't think I can go with Tari Eason over Cedric Coward. Maybe Jock Landale. And to your point, Aldama's been good all year, but I think Aldama does get a boost when Zach doesn't play.
Yeah, absolutely. There's boosts involved, but
also don't know that Jock Landale is not going to always not start with Zach Edey out. I think it could be matchups based a little bit too.
Well, they have line changes for, substitutions. So why not move it around? And yeah, no, if Coward's more likely to get you a 0 in defensive stats than he is to get you a 1 in defensive stats.
I think I'd rather have every one of those. I think I'd rather have every one of those Grizzlies that we mentioned: Jalen Wells, Coward, Landale,
then Tari Eason,
and Cam Spencer. Like, I don't I don't know where I draw the line. I probably draw the line at Vinny Williams. I'd rather have Tari Eason than Vinny because Vinny's
Well,
not doing
obviously,
anything.
clearly, you're very down on Eason,
I am.
but like I get it, and I can't throw the weight of a recommendation behind Eason when he can't stay on the floor. That's just number one. And then number two, it feels like a little bit like the game might in Houston have like passed him by a little bit. He's still a young player, obviously, but like it's this Reed Shepherd show. Jabari, ahead of him. You got obviously KD and Alpi, but like, so I don't think he's going to have access to as many like upside scenarios as he probably could if there were one player less there. But the other thing that kind of keeps me in on Eason is the fact that that Houston doesn't have any options really. I don't think Houston can make deals right now. They're in a really tough spot. I don't know how Houston is going to make deals. So he's just going to be a guy they might need. And so we might have some intermittent bursts of top 50 value for Tari Eason, but it's going to get surrounded by top 150 games and on down the list. And then you get the time off. So I guess I'm out for those reasons. Feel free to add, Doc, but why not hold or why not drop? Let's play hold or drop. We're going to look at the last couple of weeks for 8 cat per game value and just try to figure out, are we going to hold? Are we going to drop? Are we going to sell low? What are we going to do here with these guys? So let's start the list off with one of Doc's favorite guys, Saddiq Bey, checking in at top 90 value over the last 2 weeks. Are we holding or are we dropping?
I think I'm going to hold him for now, just because he plays for New Orleans. They've won 5 games. You never know if Giannis is going, or if Giannis.
Giannis, that's a new one.
That was cute. Giannis, a combination of Zion and Giannis.
Ooh,
I love that.
Maybe they should play together.
I may have to trademark that.
Maybe Milwaukee's looking to add Zion to save the Milwaukee Bucks.
But I saw Saddiq's last game, and it was like 10 points and nothing too fancy, and I was like, that isn't very good. But he's been so good for them. It's like surprisingly good all year. Like they're healthy now is the problem. New Orleans is getting healthy. So I'm not dropping Saddiq Bey right now, but I'm monitoring this situation closely to make sure this isn't the start of a fall off for him. Now, the minutes were down in that last game. He only played 25. The shooting was down. He only hit 4 of 12. The scoring was down. He only scored 10 points. That's his lowest point total since back on November 21st before Thanksgiving. But he has still scored in double figures in 5, 10, 11 or 12 straight games. So I'm still good with Saddiq. With Saddiq Bey. He did have 2 steals in that game when he only had 10 points. So he's hit or miss on the steals, man. They come in bunches and then they go in droughts, and he's not really a shot blocker. So he's not for everybody. He's not for every team, but he's serviceable nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm pretty pro Bey right now. I think there's a fall off. There's holes in the stat set, of course. But it feels like they're just going to keep going with him. And I don't understand how this team is going to get rid of good players and, or they could get rid of Zion. That would help them a ton. Like that's the thing they need to do, but that's so complicated of a topic. And then Zion might just, or Giannis, if you will, might just actually just decide he doesn't want to play, and that might work itself out, old office space side or style. But I would not move Bey for anything outside of the 125. I think that's the region that we want to see Bey operate in, is like 90 to 125. And then hopefully with some attrition, he's the last guy standing in New Orleans and you get a top 75 Saddiq Bey rest of season. But we got to see a few things pan out for him. Let's get to Tamani Kamara, 120 over the last 2 weeks. How you feeling about old Tamani?
Well, he's had 4 good games and 2 duds. and the duds were painful. One was 0 for 4 for 1 point against Detroit. The other was 3 for 8 for 7 points, 5 fouls against Golden State last night. The other games are fine. 15, 4 and 5, 13, 8 and 1. Bunch of steals. He's a great steals guy. I think I say this sometimes. Toumani Camara is like a mutual fund that you buy. You don't really need to look at it every single day. You want to look at it like once a year, because it's conservative and you're not gonna go up or down too crazy in a short amount of time. And Kamara, I think you just want to look at his stats at the end of the day. Like when all is said and done. For December, he's at 12 points, 4.5 boards, 3 assists, 1.2 steals, 0.5 blocks, and almost 3 3-pointers on 46% shooting. Like, I can live with that. Like, the good games are balancing out the bad ones, and I think he's going to be fine.
Dude, you sounded like Samir from Office Space, like explaining what he would do with $1 million. He would invest it in a mutual fund. And that's Toumani Camara in a nutshell.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know any money launderers. Herbert Jones. Oh, and I co-sign with all of that. Like Toumani's, I still think the knee was a thing. But yeah, those bad games are really dragging that number down. If anything, I'm more encouraged about him, just sort of going forward. Like, we've seen enough good games finally to know that it's in there. And now he's just got to get consistent with it. I would like to see more defensive stats. I'd like to see more defensive presence, to be honest. Feels like I'm not getting as many Toumani Camara defensive highlights, in my diet. So I'm generally.
He reminds me a little bit of Buzelis. Like, I don't think you can lose buying low on either one of those players right now.
Yeah, because they're at their floors. Their roles are secure. They're good basketball players. The teams want them to be a part of their future. And so, yeah, this is like a classic buy low. And I probably wouldn't spend more than a top 100 pick to get him. And it just a lot depends on who that top 100 pick would be. But I think you could pull that off right now. I don't think, especially in head-to-head settings, people are probably just commiserating over Toumani Camara and wanting to drop him. So maybe throw a 125 their way and see if you could get lucky. Herbert Jones checking in at 121. This is a really interesting one because I think most people were done with Herbert Jones, in fantasy leagues. I had him in a really deep 225 player league, and I was thinking about I'm Mr. Herb Jones, damn it. And I'm like, damn you, Herb, I'm dropping your ass. But I held on in my 225 player league. It was a tough call. He comes back from injury. He gets ejected in a game. And then this last game was like ho-hum. Where are you at with Herbert?
Well, he had that big game that I think turned everybody around. The 17 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals, a block, 26 minutes against the Spurs in a close game. And I think at that point, everybody went, oh, crap, is Herb Jones getting ready to do it? And then he followed that up by getting ejected the very next game. And it's like, dude, come on. And they didn't have any steals or anything worth noteworthy against the Bulls last night. So I'm still kind of out on Herb. Like we were talking about with Sadiq Bey, I feel like everybody's healthy. If you're in a roto league and you need steals and he's somehow been dropped in your league, like I would obviously immediately pick him up. If you're in a head-to-head league and you need all-around play and low scoring is going to hurt you. I mean, he scored in double figures twice out of his last 7 games, and he averages single-digit points. That's just sort of what he does. So, other than the steals, I don't have a lot of use for Herb Jones.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. If the steals matter, to me, it's like not a run don't walk, but it's like you strongly got to consider adding Herbert Jones. You don't have that many difference makers out there in that category like him hanging out there. So you got any need at all for steals. I think he's on your radar. And the thing is he's played well, generally speaking. Like the locals are fine with the 3 games that he's been back minus the ejection part. So that's a little bit of a good sign that the time off helped. Imagine that. Resting an injury would help. Let's get to Royce O'Neal. He's one of my guys. I've got Royce O'Neal everywhere, and I added him as the Royce O'Neal surge started about a month and a half ago or whatever. It started basically at the beginning of the season, and so he's been a 130 over the last 2 weeks, and he got clobbered a couple times. Houston clobbered him, 0 for 4, practically nothing. OKC, who clobbers everybody, clobbered him in that 50-point game. 50-point loss, not his. He didn't score 50. He got clobbered. He had 4 points, no threes. He did get you 2 steals in that game. And that's probably the draw here. He's at a steal. I was checking out his game log here, and something like 8 straight games with probably about half of them more than 1 steal.
Yeah.
So he's getting you that. He's getting you threes. He's playing up in the high 20s at minimum in these games. And I don't know, Doc, what are you going to do with Royce O'Neal?
I'm surprised that he's ranked as high as the number you gave for the last 2 weeks, because his average in December, which is the last 2 weeks, is 6.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.0 assists, 1.4 steals, and 1.8 triples on 39% shooting. Like, I don't know. That's
the value of your cash counters right there. That's why those damn things are so valuable.
It's kind of a rough. That's a rough line. That's a rough head-to-head line, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And now Devin Booker is healthy and back, so that doesn't really help. And Grayson Allen is getting back up to speed, even though he's been hardly the player he was before he got hurt. I'm fine with streaming Royce O'Neal. I don't need to have him on my roster.
4 of 7 from the field against the Lakers, all of them 3-pointers. So he had 12 points, 4 threes, a steal, and 5 boards in the last game in 24 minutes. A classic confuser of a line. Like, it's good, but does it make you feel good after a 26-minute outing against the Thunder, which, again, they wreck everybody's box score except for the last time those two teams played? And I think that's why Oklahoma City was like, oh, no, we're going to crush y'all this time. And they did, because they remembered. I got a question in the private chat. What about Colin Gillespie? Solid hold? Doc, do you dare say on air that you're not going to hold Colin Gillespie? And I know you'll cut it to me straight. Like, you are not a person that cares about withholding an opinion.
That cares about your feelings?
You don't care about my feelings. You would F my feelings, right?
No. Of course not. I'm holding Colin Gillespie, obviously. I love Colin Gillespie.
With a gun to your head.
I love him.
Yeah, no, he's that dude. It is what it is. We talked about Colin enough. We should make him the mascot around here or something. I don't know. Okay, who's next? We got we're through Royce O'Neal. We got Maxime Reynaud. What are you going to do there?
I think I'm holding him. I feel like he's disappointed me when I've used him in FanDuel, but I don't think that he really has. I think it's just my lineups have been so bad in general. He's just kind of doing what he does, and nobody else is popping for me. Double digits in 4 straight before his 8.6 board game on Sunday night. Not a ton of blocks, but some blocks. Not a lot of steals, but occasional steals. Basically a points and rebounds guy, because there's not a lot of threes either. There's not a lot of cash counters, as you say. Wemby meter stats. So I'm fine with using him in a points league. I'm fine with using him in a head-to-head league. I'm fine with streaming him in, say, a FanDuel. But I have a feeling, Brew, based on a lack of steals, blocks, and threes, you're not really into hanging on to him right now in roto leagues. I could be wrong.
No, I am going to hang on to him just because I think those things have to happen. Kind of like if you're on a basketball floor, you eventually the ball starts finding its way to you, and he's going to be on the floor, I think, for at least 25 minutes going forward. It's just these players that they screw up basketball games for everybody else, and then it occasionally looks good. I'm talking about Russell Westbrook. I'm talking about DeMar DeRozan. Like, one game they look. They might have 1 out of every 4 games they play super effective basketball, and it's totally accidental, based on what they bring to the table. And this, we're talking about DeMar DeRozan at age 36 or something season. Like, this isn't the guy from 4 or 5 years ago where he would be more inclined, to have him on a basketball floor and take as many shots and the type of shots that he's taking. But like, you get these two guys out of there, or at least one of the two, and the game will normalize a little bit, and it won't be just like, oh, that guy Reynaud, well, we forgot about him, he's not even on the floor. Like, that's what happens in these bad games, and I think that'll improve a little bit as DeMar DeRozan gets traded. And then you'll have, I think, a top 100 player going forward, 125. This 142 or whatever it is for the last 2 weeks. I think it's a marker that it's bad when it's bad, and but otherwise, I think they're committed to playing him in Sacramento. So I will hold for now.
The fact that Sacramento dropped the Russell Westbrook bomb in the middle of that thing it's so great.
It is.
It's so not great, and it's so great all at the same time.
He's one of the only things I like watching Keegan Murray right now, because I got him on a few teams and he is killing it, and it is great. But he's the only interesting thing in Sacramento. Watching Russ just do weird stuff.
He's also disrupted the whole thing. Like, now you have no idea what's even going on. Like, it cracks me up, man. It
is the dumbest thing they could have done. And yet he is one of the top players on the team this year. And his age 38 season, or whatever the hell Russell Westbrook's age is, it's fascinating, and yet so stupid. And I love it. Moussa Diabate, 237 over the last 2 weeks. I kind of called off the Diabate stuff about a week ago. I wanted to watch for the knee injury and see if the time off gave him a little bit more burst, if that had anything to do with anything. And now he's just lost in the weeds. And I could just tell you really quickly, I don't think I can offer up a hold recommendation. If you're in a 14 to 16 team league that plays 2 centers and you are really hurting at center, I do think there is an upside play to be had here where maybe he gets it back going again. But come on, I mean, like, that's about as much stretching as one can do. Do you see it any differently, Doc?
No, he's been bad, man. 4 points, 5 boards, 0.8 steals, 0.6 blocks. That's it. You can't hold that in almost any league that's smaller than 14 teams. So, a Kalkbrenner injury might change everything, but yeah, that's big.
That could be said for 30 dudes in the league, 30 centers in the league. That is okay. We'll keep this question super streamlined. Jaden Ivey, do you have any interest at all in stashing him in any format?
Oh, is this going to lead to a Dennis Jenkins discussion?
No.
I do not have interest in stashing Jaden Ivey. To answer
Dennis Jenkins is at maybe 1 to 2 game mark where I said a few weeks ago, it's like, hey, you guys hold for a couple weeks. And of course it hasn't panned out. And of course you guys can laugh at me. But at some point in time, he will get his revenge.
There's just too many guards in Detroit. And Jenkins, if Jenkins or Ivey goes and are no longer there, then I think the other one will be okay, and then is worth looking into. But
I was kind of joking there for a second, but you're kind of hitting the strand of Detroit. I don't know if they are forced to get rid of Jaden Ivey, if there's that much inertia with this Jaden Ivey. He's been on the trade block forever, But if he's gonna get traded somewhere, that might actually be a little interesting. But I'm not stashing Jaden Ivey.
He scored in double figures in 3 of his last 4 games. He also has not played more than 19 minutes in any game this season. He's never hit the 20-minute mark this year. So
I don't think they're going to showcase him, but they're preserving him in a way. Making sure.
Well, and they're winning. They're beating everybody with him just being a role player. A low minute role player. So, I mean, there's not really any reason for them to change it. But But, keep an eye out. When Dennis gets sent down to the G League to serve his time, maybe Jaden Ivey is a good streamer or a decent pickup in a deep league then.
And the trade deadline is about, what do we got? Like under 2 months away, and we got December 15th today. Holy boy. I remember things. So theoretically, we could see some trade action today, though it is historically slow on this day. So that's interesting stuff. That's going to do it for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, the best way to keep this content coming is super simple. If you're listening on the pod feed, take 60 seconds, drop us a 5-star review. It helps us a bunch. Thank you guys, seriously, so much. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the Sports Ethos channel so you guys never miss any episodes at all. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Doc. Thanks to the fantasy basketball content team. Thanks to the tech team. And for Steve, Andre, and all of us here at Sports Ethos, we will be back tomorrow for another episode. Or will we? I don't know. Are we, Doc? Are we back tomorrow?
I don't know why we wouldn't be. You have to ask Andre.
Yeah, no, we're back. I was just thinking cup stuff, but no, we're back. We're back. So we'll be back tomorrow. And great news for all of us. A little recap. Yeah, a little recap. And then I'll do the 30-team breakdown. That's going to be
breakdown.
Yeah, maybe I got all PTSD from preparing for that. So that'll be a big show. We're going to go over a ton in that show. It's going to be very, very fun. As for this show, this has been Fantasy NBA Today, presented by FanDuel. We will see you guys tomorrow.